we're going to take a look inside my refrigerator. Scary space. Scary times, y'all. Hi guys, it's Stef from Chadron Beautiful. So today we are going to take a look at food waste and how it functions. It's been really significant to Chadron Beautiful that we consider how we can reduce waste, because in our small community, there is no way for us to recycle during coronavirus. We don't have those facilities here in town. And I'm wondering personally, like, is this a situation that's impacting other people's ability to recycle? Rather than focusing on what we can't do, recycle, we're going to focus on what we can do. And we're going to tackle reducing our waste. And today we're going to specifically tackle food waste and kind of reducing our imprint that we're causing. The great thing is I'm a new member to the Chadron Beautiful team. So as a Keep America Beautiful affiliate, like, we're totally dedicated to doing things that reduce litter, reduce waste, reduce greenhouse gases, all of those things that just feed the earth in a positive way rather than kind of creating a detrimental effect. So we are going to take a look at my kitchen, and I am going to be our crash test dummy for this whole learning experience about how to reduce food waste.
The average person generates over 4 pounds of trash every day and about 1.5 tons of solid waste per year.
Okay, hi guys, this is my kitchen. So we're going to go over my food waste, and that's inclusive of things like bottles, because when I purchase this tea, it creates waste, and so we're going to take that into account. And that's why a lot of the time it's better to make things versus purchasing them pre-made. Let's get started. A simple thing I can do, rather than buying this bottle of tea, I can get loose leaf tea, produce paper waste instead of plastic waste, and then I'll be producing less waste, and the waste I do produce is less harmful on the environment than plastic. And one thing that in normal times I would do, I would be able to rinse this out and recycle it, but as I've already addressed, in Chadron right now, we don't have access to recycling due to Corona. More waste. This is another example of a pre-packaged waste that I am producing. And I like buying these because they're just like super easy when I'm on the run out the door. But I could take the additional step of like cooking pancakes or waffles ahead of time and having them stored in like a glass Tupperware container and left in the fridge ready to go when I need them. And it's good to note that I could freeze half of them, so that then I'm reducing my food waste by making sure that they won't go bad.
The freezer is your friend. Put fruits and vegetables on the brink of going bad in the freezer to be used later for other items, such as soups and smoothies. The USDA says freezing preserves food for extended periods because it prevents the growth of microorganisms that cause both food spoilage and foodborne illness. Bread, meat, and leftovers are also great options to store in the freezer.
Now, in our town, like, if you're buying meat, you don't really have the option to affordably buy things like salmon that don't come with something like this. So this is another example of my food waste. My egg container. It's good that it's made from 100% reclaimed paper. I don't know if you can kind of see that there, but yeah, it is. Something that I could do with my eggshells, which I save, is I can compost those. A future series that we're hoping to start is on composting and gardening, and kind of continuing to take my house and use it as a little bit of a case study for eco-friendly living, and building a garden in my backyard and putting my food waste into compost so that I can kind of see a benefit from doing that, and so that I'm creating more of a positive impact. This was more that I wasn't paying attention. There's two things here that happened. For one, I bought tomatoes that were in plastic packaging, which when I'm next in the grocery store and making my vegetable choices, I'll avoid doing, and I'll just buy the on the vine not packaged in plastic tomatoes and not use one of the plastic sacks to take them to the checkout. Instead, I'll just keep them on the vine or take loose tomatoes and just make that purchase. And the other thing is that these tomatoes have gone bad because I didn't acknowledge that I had them in my pantry, and out of sight, out of mind, they just didn't get used before they went bad and got all wrinkly and gross. I like my chips. I like my lime jalapeno chips, and unfortunately it produces waste. I don't do much takeout just because it's not quite as affordable. However, my son talked me into donuts the other day and it produced paper waste in the form of the takeout bag. And that's something that I would typically want to recycle. The nice thing is that this company, they do use recycled materials, which is great. I've got my tea bag here. Now, something that I can do once I run out of tea bags is I can switch to loose leaf tea. I think that that is a very fantastic way to eliminate the waste produced by the tea bags. There is also the option of buying boxes of tea that don't come wrapped in cellophane, and instead they are just held shut and it doesn't produce plastic waste, just paper waste. This is mystery trash. I don't know what it's from. I think I wanted to say something intelligent about it, but I don't know where this came from. It's a mystery. Okay. But I did something good. I made homemade bread, and that reduces waste in the sense of I'm not putting more plastic out because I'm not buying off the shelf, but I ate one loaf and then another half of a loaf, and then my son and I, we just kind of stopped eating this bread. I was hoping to repurpose it into French toast, but unfortunately, I don't know if you can see, but there's like mold happened. So it was the most recent addition to my food waste audit, and unfortunately that now has to go in the trash. I was cleaning out my shelves this week and I was like, oh man, I should have waited until after I shot this video, because of course, I found that I had misplaced a zucchini on a shelf, and this zucchini is old. It's very old. It's got like a sheen on it. It's not edible. It's not safe, guys. It's just not safe. But again, this is just a case of me needing to keep things like in sight so that I'm aware of what I have that needs to be used, what's going bad. This is the packaging for the macaroni and cheese that I made in an experiment. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying so hard to find something that my son likes that coincides with my recent goals to eat a more plant-based lifestyle. This was not a success. This was not a success with the toddler. Reviews were grim. Let's just deal with that. Okay? Okay. It resulted in this food waste from this packaging, and then it also resulted in additional food waste because I was having kind of a night. You know the kind of night I mean, where it's just like bath time is not happening, bedtime is not happening, books are not happening, like the child was not happening. And so I mistakenly didn't put my leftovers in the refrigerator, and some of the other like food waste I'm going to show you, it's in there as well. So it's not incredibly gross. It's just, I forgot because I'm human, and so this just stayed on the stove all night and went bad. And so it is part of my food waste. And so one of my goals is going to be being mindful, making sure that the leftovers make it into a glass container and into my refrigerator. Every day I make coffee in the morning and I produce a coffee filter, and they actually make reusable coffee filters that are very accessible and on the market. And so that's something that I'm going to invest in. And that's something where I can make a positive impact with very little effort, and I'll actually save money over time because I won't be going out and buying filter packages. Like, it works on both fronts. At Chadron Beautiful, we know it's not gonna be like some huge transformation to only producing the amount of waste that can fit in a mason jar in 2 weeks. Like, that's not that's not our goal here. Our goal is just to do a little bit better. And if everybody just does a little bit better, then in cumulative effect, we're going to see a huge improvement. Here is my food waste from a lime. I used the lime first, even though I had lemons in my fridge and I prefer them in tea, but I noticed that the limes were going bad and they needed to be used really, really quickly. Another bit of food waste. I get my honey, and I could be making the choice to get it in a glass container, and then I could repurpose that glass container for another use. And that's something I'm going to do in the future. But for the most part, it's kind of an unavoidable waste. It's just choosing which waste. So then we have tea packets. And that's the last of what I have. And we kind of already talked about tea. Okay guys, so we are preparing to take a look inside my fridge. It's one thing that I try and do before I go grocery shopping. It's made a huge improvement in reducing my waste, is just cleaning out my refrigerator. We're going to just take a look and see what steps I can take to kind of improve my imprint on the world. When I am getting ready to engage with a task, the way you know I'm serious about it is I put my hair back. Like, this is full on Lemony Snicket, Violet inventing stuff, and yes, I am watching that with my son right now. But yeah, so we're gonna get serious. This part of the video might get cut because I feel silly, but we're serious. So we're going into the refrigerator, which I intentionally did not pre-clean just so you would see my genuine way of life. Like, it is not perfect in here. Okay, so let's take a look around. Herbs in plastic. Now, one thing that I have done is my most commonly used herb, basil, I grow it in my window. And I use a lot of things like rosemary and thyme. And so that's something, like, I'm going to be expanding my gardening this next year. So that's something that I can work on. I can grow some rosemary and thyme. I can grow some sage, so that rather than using the plastic container versions of the herbs, I can go on ahead and have like them right there accessible in my garden. And the nice thing is, like, gardens produce so much that I'll be able to share with my friends, so it's kind of a perk. And it also avoids producing like the plastic waste I associate with herbs in bottles. So here's the state of my fridge. As you can see, like, it's a little cluttered right now, and one thing I found is the more care I show in cleaning it out, the less food waste I produce. So I'm just going to go on ahead and I'm going to clear out anything that's like getting ready to go bad. If it's like fruit, it'll go in the freezer. Like this bit of pasta over here, I can stash that in the freezer too, because I don't think I'm going to eat it before it goes bad this week. So I'm just going to be cognizant of that as I clean out my fridge.
Many months later.
It's another day and we're going over the things that I pulled out of my refrigerator. We've got Tupperware that had fallen to the back of the fridge. I had sauteed some mushrooms and spinach to use in the future, and then because it got shoved to the back, is as I replace my Tupperware containers, I'm replacing them with glass, and that way I'll be putting less plastic waste out over time. But I don't want to obviously just throw them away right now while I'm stocked up on that. That's what I'm gonna use. Oh man, I've got this minion here helping me. So another case of got shoved to the back of the fridge. It used to be tofu in a peanut sauce. Now it's mystery stuff. And whatever he just said. What did you say? This is Milo. He knows things. Okay, so more waste. There was like less than a quarter cup of cashew milk left. He thinks I'm funny.
No, because that fell.
We had just the last cup of apple cider, so I went on ahead and I drank the last cup and then produced this plastic waste. Had some veggie stock in the fridge that I hadn't used. I had used half of it for a recipe. Oh, the child's slipping. He's going down. So another thing that's consistent is food gets shoved to the back of the refrigerator and then not eaten. That is my bad habit with leftovers, and that happened with some pizza bites and some lamb, which I'm really sad about the lamb because it was really good and it's gross. And the other thing I found was some berries that these are kiwi berries and they got old and wrinkly and not eaten. So really my theme here is just I need to keep less things in my refrigerator so that everything that I have available to me is like right up there in the front and super present, and I'm super aware of what I have and what I need to consume before it goes bad.
To be in there.
He wanted to be in here. Basically, one of my goals is going to be I'm going to inventory my fridge, clean everything out of it, wipe it down, all that good stuff every 2 weeks. I've been operating on a once a month schedule. I'm gonna step up my game and see if that improves how I'm doing things and reduces the amount of food waste I'm producing. Personally, I think it will. So now that we've kind of explored the depths and the darkness of my refrigerator, we're kind of good.